saying that from today, this change is being made in a way that is very, very clear. In ministers' offices, ministers must behave accordingly. They must not. I don't care whether they are married or single. I don't care. They must not have sexual relations with their staff. That's it.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to MediaWatch and to a brave new world in Canberra, where the Prime Minister has laid down his most ambitious policy ever.
Turnbull bans sex with staff. It's a case of no pokies.
Yeah, sexual relations between ministers and their staff will now be prohibited under a change to the Ministerial Code of Conduct. But the bonking ban left some in the media confused.
I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah.
And it left commentators pondering what exactly the rules ruled out.
They can still have sex with other ministers, though, if they're not on staff.
Yeah, they can have sex with
it's stupid. It is really stupid, I think.
That's right. So Malcolm Turnbull and Barnaby Joyce could have sex with each other, but neither could have sex with any of their staff.
The sex ban was also a hot topic on Sunrise, with Prue McSween asking,
how are they going to police it? Put a microchip in every penis? Or, have dick tracing squads?
But what everyone wanted to know was...
Is there going to be a sex police?
Yes.
And, of course, it will be the media. Because, under Turnbull's clean sheets policy, if a minister is caught with his pants down, it's a sackable offence, which means the private sex lives of government ministers will now be very much a matter of public interest. And the media could be reporting on it constantly.
How much bonking is going on at Parliament House?
A lot.
So, does this new rule give the media the green light to go digging for dirt? The Guardian's Catherine Murphy says it does.
We are going to have a caterwauling free-for-all. Open season on political office affairs, on transgressions, on uncouplings, conscious or otherwise. Telephoto lenses trained on private moments, and tabloid reckonings, because character is now a legitimate question. The Prime Minister has sanctioned federal Parliament's sex round.
A political sex round. It's not going to be pretty. But for now, we'll leave the last word to Channel 9's Sonia Kruger.
Ridiculous. The only place that a no-sex ban works is in the marital home. We all know that, right?
But now to the fierce row over claims of political interference and censorship at the ABC, following the publication of this controversial article by the ABC's chief economics correspondent, Emma Alberici.
Mega profits with no tax. Corporate tax avoidance rife in Australia.
Last Wednesday, Emma Alberici published two stories attacking the government's proposal to lower the corporate tax rate from 30% to 25%. One was this news story.
New analysis by the ABC reveals about 1 in 5 of the country's biggest companies have paid no tax for at least the past 3 years.
And the other was this analysis piece, well argued but one-sided, which challenged the government's claim that cutting corporate tax rates will make the average worker better off.
There is no compelling evidence that giving the country's biggest companies a tax cut sees that money passed on to workers in the form of higher wages.
Company tax cuts will be a hot political issue at the next election because Labor opposes them. And with Bill Shorten retweeting Alberici's articles, Malcolm Turnbull was quick to attack both her and the ALP.
We saw that they were busily retweeting the article, one of the most confused and poorly researched articles I've seen on this topic, on the ABC's website.
And before long, the backlash was in full swing, with Qantas CEO Alan Joyce and the Business Council of Australia's Jennifer Westacott calling the stories misleading, and ferocious formal complaints coming from the PM and the Treasurer, claiming her work was riddled with inaccuracies and sending ABC News into crisis meetings. You can still see Alberici's news story online, but it has now been drastically rewritten, and we believe it needed to be, to clear up the confusion between income and profit, to moderate the tone, and to get rid of gratuitous swipes like this depiction of Goldman Sachs as
the great vampire squid wrapped around the face of humanity, relentlessly jamming its blood funnel into anything that smells like money.
But Alberici's analysis article, which attacked the government's proposed corporate tax cuts on the basis that they would not boost wages, has been removed entirely on the grounds that it, quote,
did not accord with our editorial standards for analysis.
And as a result, the ABC has been bombarded with rage on social media and subjected to a bunch of headlines which damaged both its and Alberich's reputation. And as The Australian reported, one of the noisiest complainants was Communications Minister Mitch Fifield, who thundered to the ABC's managing director,
"This coverage contains multiple factual errors and misrepresentations in breach of the ABC's editorial standards. It is neither fair, balanced, accurate, nor impartial. It fails to present a balance of views on the corporate tax policy."
So, is the minister right? Economist Saul Eslake, who is quoted in Alberich's articles, told mediawatch,
"I don't think there are any factual errors."
And other commentators back that up. Emma Alberici also insists that is so, disputing the ABC's claim today that there were inaccuracies. She also adds in her defence,
"I set about testing the claim that tax cuts for big companies are necessarily linked to wages growth. As the ABC's chief economics correspondent with 25 years' experience in the field of business and finance reporting, I would be expected to do that."
But facts were not the only issue with her news story, and it was certainly not why her analysis article was removed. The problem there, according to the ABC, and we have to agree, was it overstepped the ABC's rigid guidelines on analysis and opinion, which remarkably ban reporters from expressing opinions, and which state,
"Even specialists should stop short of prescriptive conclusions or overt advocacy of one position over another."
And which add that,
"All of this content should be impartial."
All the same, a couple of key questions arise, and the most important is, could the problem have been fixed without taking Alberich's analysis down and hanging her out to dry? We think the answer is absolutely yes, by updating the piece to balance it with the government's point of view. Second is, are the ABC's guidelines on analysis and opinion too restrictive? Again, we think the answer is yes. One ABC reporter described them as a straitjacket. And the third question is, if Alberich's analysis was so gravely in breach of ABC standards, and her news story included inaccuracies, why did the ABC's editorial processes not pick that up? And why did this strapline about corporate tax avoidance appear on Emma's morning TV interviews? The ABC told us in a statement,
ABC News acknowledges its sub-editing and publishing process in this case did not meet our standards. We have already implemented changes to strengthen these processes.
But the further question that lies behind this is, has the ABC caved in to political pressure from an angry government? Certainly that's what some people are saying, including former ABC reporter Quentin Dempster, who tweeted,
"Its total removal from the website seems censorious, leading to speculation ABC has been got at."
The ABC denies that and says that concerns about Alberich's stories were raised inside the ABC before any public criticism. And while we can't show you the correspondence, we have seen an email from News Director Gavin Morris raising concerns less than 2 hours after the story was published. However, we also note it wasn't until hours after the PM and Treasurer complained that the stories were altered or removed. But whether the ABC bowed to pressure or not, we think there are lessons to be learnt. First is that the system of editorial quality control on a major story has failed yet again. Second is, if the ABC wants analysis from its leading news journalists, and we think the public does want to hear their verdict on policy, it needs to relax the guidelines to give reporters a little more room to move. Because, in the current system, to avoid straying into opinion is almost mission impossible. But now, to a shocking tale of abuse and a woman who was hunted down for a crime she did not commit.
Wow. Let's hope she's caught and prosecuted.
"I'd like someone to try and suffocate her with a plastic bag. See how she likes it."
Yep, it was nasty. And there was plenty more like that when an unsuspecting Sydney dog owner was outed by the media 2 weeks ago for alleged animal abuse.
The RSPCA is appealing for information about a terrible case of animal cruelty. It's released video of a woman trying to suffocate her greyhound with a plastic bag.
And why was the RSPCA on the hunt? Because it had received this video from a citizen do-gooder, which appeared, to some, to show an unspeakable act of dogicide. Hitting the panic button, the RSPCA posted a Facebook appeal to track down the owner, accusing her of appearing to suffocate the dog and posting her location. And the media then piled on, republishing the video, repeating the claim, and revealing the street and suburb where the video was shot. But why on earth would anyone choke a dog to death in broad daylight in a public place? And was that really what she was trying to do? Answer, no.
Now, sadly for the RSPCA, but happily for the dog called Moby, she was not doing any such thing. In fact, what she was doing was trying to get a possum out of her dog's mouth, and she was holding a plastic bag while doing it because it was a dead possum. No doubt there will be an apology from the RSPCA to that woman.
Ah, no doubt. And indeed, the RSPCA soon confirmed it had examined the dog and no offences have been committed. But did it apologise? The RSPCA says it did, but not according to the owner, who told MediaWatch.
There was no apology from the RSPCA. I don't think they did anything wrong. They told me previously posts like that led to successful convictions for animal cruelty.
The RSPCA was also slow to act. The dog owner's family told us it took several phone calls to reach anyone, and 27 hours before the RSPCA accepted they had committed no crime. And by then, the damage was done, with hundreds of abusive messages like these.
If she has kids, they should be removed from her care as well.
Suffocate her with a cable tie around her throat.
Hope she gets caught and rots in hell. Pure evil.
As the family told the RSPCA afterwards in this Facebook message,
had the post come down at our initial point of contact, 5 p.m, the ensuing media onslaught would not have occurred.
But it did, and an innocent family was pursued by a righteous media lynch mob. Not surprisingly, the family told MediaWatch,
we were all very angry about the way it had been handled.
In a statement, the RSPCA told MediaWatch it was disappointed in the media's treatment of the story, calling it inflammatory.
We are very sorry that she had to endure such outrage from the community. Animal cruelty is a very emotional and personal issue for so many, and managing this is an ongoing challenge for our organisation.
Well, maybe so, but if the RSPCA adopts a presumption of guilt, it cannot disclaim all responsibility for what then happens. And finally, to an embarrassing question, what does it take to make the news in 2018? This next story gives us the answer.
Now, a man who claims he's a time traveller from the year 2030 has passed a lie detector test while revealing a number of weirdly specific predictions about the future. The man, known as Noah, wonder if he's from the Ark, appeared on YouTube channel Apex TV.
Yes, Noah was a big hit last week as a bunch of news organisations who should know better ran with a yarn that was almost as funny as it was dumb and stupid.
Time traveller from the future says Trump will be re-elected.
And where was the evidence for his claims, I hear you ask? Well, watch the video, of course, where Noah faced rigorous questioning like this.
First off, are you an actual time traveller from the year 2030?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Noah, a lot of people ask us if you have any actual evidence that you are a time traveller.
Yeah, so I have no physical evidence besides the thing that's in my wrist and, predictions, but I'm not sure if I can give them due to a paradox.
Well, if the lie detector says it's true, it must be. And don't be deceived by Noah's youthful looks. We're told he's actually 50, but he's taken anti-aging pills to appear much younger. I mean, you really can't make this shit up, can you? Except someone did. And the media could not resist, with news.com.au, Yahoo 7... and the Daily Mail all jumping in, although the Daily Mail did add that Noah had been
slammed by skeptics online who doubt he is who he says he is.
No such doubts on Kyle and Jackie O, though, who had Noah on live the next day to explain how he travels through time.
It's really expensive and costly, but I step in this giant dome and these things fire up and basically a large electronic wave. I don't know how to describe it.
Wow. And let's face it, from an impeccable source. The video of Noah's time travel escapades was first posted on Apex TV, a YouTube channel dedicated to providing quality paranormal content, including plenty of dodgy alien videos. So, if the Australian media is ever short of a story, they know where to look. Which brings us back to Studio 10 and Natasha Belling, who finally confessed that the story of Noah the time traveller was a heap of junk, but still worthy of discussion.
Now, despite this clearly being completely fake, it begs the question, should we pay any attention to people who claim they can see the future?
Short answer, no. And also no to giving credence to stories that are ridiculous and fake. And for all those out there who believe it might be true, please don't contact me. And you can read more about tonight's other stories on our Facebook page. You can also catch up with us on iView and contact me or MediaWatch on Twitter. And don't forget, Media Bites every Thursday. But for now, until next week, that's it from us. Goodbye.